On my last journey, I cried through almost the whole thing. Like, I was shaking and crying. There's stuff that was stored in my body that was like, I didn't even know that was there.
Uh, yeah.
I have some notes on you here that you've struggled with obesity, anorexia, Hashimoto's, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and Epstein-Barr. Any one of those might really take someone out of the game in terms of their ability to function in life. So, what's your kind of pain to purpose journey that
Mm.
motivates you to keep innovating and putting helpful things out into the world as you do?
I I just found out last year when I keynoted at Mind Valley U in Estonia and spoke on stage about psychedelics and my stacks and my story. And someone afterwards, two amazing people came up to me. One was a young lady that said she was about to commit suicide and she was waiting for this talk and she was now not going to. And I had this moment, thanks to my breathwork guru that I work with, it's also a life coach, in the bathroom just before I went out on stage. I have a hard time going out on stage and I speak in front of 10,000 people. I do all this kind of stuff. But I remember looking in the mirror and she wrote down some words for me. And there was one line about if you can make an impact in one person's life today. And when she said that, it cemented everything I'm doing. The next person came up to me and they saw like how I was like really taken and I was even crying on stage when I talked about some of my experiences. And he's like, "You're an HSP." And I was like, "What is that?" "You're a highly sensitive person." And so, I don't know whether you want to call it like introverted, on the spectrum, like someone who, like an empath, a lot of those things apply to me. And a lot of those things I thought most of my life were weaknesses. Um, as I had a difficult childhood, and I think I took it harder than everyone else, and but it made me who I am in so many ways. I'm very much a feeler, and I ended up having a lot of issues with um, severe depression and disordered eating, binge eating, then body dysmorphia, then getting bullied for that body. Um, and it just led me down a path of incredible insecurity. And then I hated my body so much that I used to think about taking a knife and like cutting my fat off my body. And, I ended up eventually becoming anorexic, going from about
Yeah.
300 pounds to 150 pounds. And eating like 400 calories a day. And then I got into working out and then became orthorexic and, doing all the protein and all the things and supplements and my body took a toll, on all that. So I hated my body so much that it was sending up all the red flags. And, that started leading me down this path of supplementation, of nutrition, of paleo, keto, fasting, all these things that helped me a lot. But it's really only been since about 3.5 years ago when I started my psychedelic work that I started healing the inside, like spiritually, that I really had huge shifts. It helped to change my diet, to get on the supplements, to change how I view exercise, all these kinds of things. But that was the biggest shift for me. But also learning that I've spent most of my life as an HSP dissociated. It was just in my most recent journey weeks ago that I realized that I've spent almost my entire life outside of my body. Because I am someone who feels so much, I didn't want to feel because it was scary, it was painful. I can be in a group and I can feel someone 20 feet away having a hard time, angry, sad, whatever, and it becomes a lot for me, and I take that on. So these are all things like I'm learning how to navigate, but out of that dissociation, out of that cerebralization, out of like trying to find ways to heal myself came the science. And the science was fair. And and I just became focused on searching for solutions in that scientific realm of logic. And it's really more the recent work that's been the spiritual, the woo, that side of things that's really been a massive shift for me, and then saying it's okay to be in your body and feel. And I can't even tell you on my last journey, I cried through almost the whole thing. Like I was shaking and crying. There's stuff that was stored in my body that was like, I didn't even know that was there. And there were wounds in the feminine that I did not know were there. Like you want this mother figure in your life to step in and save you. Like uh, there's nothing more powerful than mother in terms of that safety and creative force and being tied to you as a child. And I didn't even realize that I had all these wounds around the feminine and women. And in my journey, my mother, my grandmother, my consciously uncoupled uh, former wife, that's another discussion. That was about a year ago. She's still a close friend, business partner of mine, Shelley. And they all came in around me and held me. And then all the women that I've hurt came into that circle and held me.
This is during the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like I healed so much and I was able to get back into my body and into that empathic, nurturative kind of state and not just be this brain, this logic driven brain. It's like a whole new experience now. And it's a beautiful thing to try and, marry the two now. So I
So
don't even
cool.
remember what the
I love
question
it.
was.
It doesn't matter.